Hey YouTube, welcome back to my channel. So this video today is a vulnerable one, I'd say, or an intense topic, and that's severe akathisia. Before I get into the details of the video, I just wanted to say that I am offering one-on-one coaching. So I have a free 15-minute consultation, 30-minute calls, 60-minute calls, and I offer them at lower rates than other places online. And I also have put together 4-session packages for people who may want to meet more regularly. And I offer those at a further discounted rate. You can check out my direct online booking calendar in the description of this video, as well as a link to my website. If you want to check out more about my story, it's on my website, and you can book sessions through there as well. I also have long form videos on this channel that details my whole journey, my first withdrawal, and then my reinstatement and second withdrawal off multiple meds, including benzos. So check those out if you want to know the details of my story. So the topic of severe akathisia is a difficult one because it is probably one of the, if not the most distressing symptom that someone can experience from psychiatric drug withdrawal and reactions. And I want to talk about it from the perspective of a coach because I have seen people in all states. So people will sometimes say to me in an email, well, I'd love to chat with you, but my state is so severe, I'm so embarrassed, or I don't want anyone to see me. And the truth is, there is nothing that could be presented to me that I haven't already seen, truthfully. I mean, I've seen people in very, very severe akathisia, TD, dystonia, all at the same time, screaming, nonstop moving, can't look at the camera, just bawling their eyes out. Sometimes I've had to then, a support person has to take over the conversation. But an interesting thing happens when I talk to these people. So I'm not trying to position myself as a hero in any way, shape, or form. But when people sign up for a call, then they have to fill in a brief description on what's going on with them. And people either do that directly or have someone help them. But I've seen it happen with people with severe akathisia that at the beginning of the call, again, they're like in such distress that you can't really have much of a conversation. But because I have that prior description, I can start to, sometimes I'll just sit with them at the very beginning because people will often just start shouting and, they're just in such distress and they start telling me their story and I can't really get a word in because they're just in so much distress and talking really fast and yelling and all that. And so I'll just sit there and listen, or sometimes they don't know what to say. They're just in such distress they can't think at all. And so then I will say, okay, very calmly, because it doesn't really trigger me. I just feel an overwhelming sense of compassion for people in that state. And so I'll just say, hey, so, I'm really sorry for what you're going through. I understand that you don't have a lot of hope and that you're in a very acute stage and you're very, 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 very scared. I mean, it doesn't even address the level of distress, but I do the best I can to just remain very, very calm because I've noticed several things with people who have severe akathisia. So the first thing is they just need someone to talk to and to listen and to validate. I would say most, if not all of the people that I've met with who are like that are alone. And so they're just feeling so desperate and they have no one to sort of vent and who will validate, believe, make them feel safe, make them feel heard, make them feel like they can say whatever it is they need to say and they won't be judged, they won't be locked up, they won't, because I see these themes like they're screaming like, I don't want to be locked up, and again, it's totally understandable that they're saying these things because a lot of them have been traumatized by the psych hospitals, the psych wards, and they're so afraid of going back there. They're afraid of all of the scenarios. They're afraid to come off their drug. They're afraid to be off because they're like, how do I deal with what's going on mentally without pills? They're scared to taper. They're scared to stay on. They're scared in every single scenario. And so what I do is try to provide that safe space, no matter what it is, and just listen to them, sit with them. And I've really noticed that over the course of a call, their symptoms will come way down at the end. And again, it's nothing that I'm doing per se. It's just that they have absolutely no sense of safety whatsoever, obviously. Um, but it's just, and even people who don't have severe akathisia, they're just, whatever symptoms they're experiencing are intense, and they'll just say, I can't believe how much better I feel just being able to talk to someone. It breaks my heart to see how many people are alone in this. Some people have others physically present with them, some don't. And the ones who have those physically present will often say to me, but they don't understand, or they are sick of me, or they don't want to hear about it anymore. That's how my mother was incredible and is incredible, but she was so tired of dealing with it. She was just exhausted and she didn't want to hear about it anymore. And I'm not trying to like talk bad about her, but she didn't know how to help me. And so I had to find my own support system, and it was life-saving for me. And again, I'm not saying akathisia is in your, like, you can just have the power to turn it on or off. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying it's mind over matter. I'm just saying that these people are so distressed that if you can even just sit across in a camera, like just seeing the level dial down by providing that. And sometimes people just need to shout and get off their mind and their chest, like like all of the trauma that they've been through. They have no outlet, and it just is contributing. And again, I'll hear from them, is this going to happen? Is this permanent? Is this, and it's that same sort of conversation that I'm like, oh, they heard from this person, they heard from this person, they read here, they heard this is what happened to person A, this is what happened to person B. And just the fear is just going, and it's just going and going and going, and they can't, it's just like a tornado that's gone out of control. And if you can provide, again, that perspective and that sense of comfort, even from afar. I mean, that's why, again, I say so often in my videos that you need to get out of the groups, because the way that providing a sense of safety and support and peace to someone can dial down their symptoms, I know for a fact that the opposite is dialing up the symptoms. I mean, even if people aren't consciously aware of it, I can just tell by the way they're expressing and they're shouting just the despair that, from the information that they've acquired. And not only just that, but like the gaslighting that they've experienced, the trauma that they experienced from being in the wards, the ultimate fear of being, forcibly medicated and having them, I hear all of those different things. And it's just this, yeah, like I said, these people need to be validated and heard, and they need a sense of safety more than anything else. And once you can bring it down like that, then, you can just almost see their rational minds kicking back in again. And it's not perfect by any means. They're still in distress, but it's like 75% less. And it's incredible to watch. And it's one of the most, I would say, rewarding things of what I do, because just being able to provide that to people, it really is powerful to see, especially in video conversation. And I just don't think, and I understand that the groups are a place of support for a lot of people, because they're like, I have nowhere else to go. I have nowhere else to express what I'm experiencing. And so the intent is always good from both ends, from the person suffering and from the group. But it very quickly goes into this, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. And, this is toxic and this is poisonous and this is, and I get again where they're coming from, but the talk always tends to be in extremes. And of course, it's all these people in extreme situations. I get that, but there's no sort of sounding board a lot of times. And the admins sometimes will come in and try to, shut off commenting or give perspective, but they can only do so much, and they can't respond to every single comment if there's like 300 comments on one post alone. And so again, it just spirals, and it's like this feeding off of each other, and it's not good. And again, what I've seen in people with severe akathisia on calls is they need the opposite of that. So yeah, and until you can get some space from your symptoms, that's what you need: hope, support, safety, and all of the things I've talked about in so many of my videos. And so I just want to say that if you're experiencing that, you're definitely not alone. And I know there's some specific akathisia groups that I've heard overwhelmingly from clients say it's extremely triggering. It's not a safe space. And again, the intent is not that. I'm sure the intent of all of these groups was not for that to be the outcome, was this horror show. But that's just the reality of what people are experiencing. And so that's why all of these people in these extreme situations coming together and sharing their horror stories is not helpful for anyone. So I just wanted to say that and kind of get that off my chest, and just let you know how powerful all of that is and how the little things over a long period of time are what make the difference. There's no magic bullet, obviously. There's no, let's just do this and it'll shut off. It's just, it's a journey. It happens over time. And I want to say too that another thing that I've seen in the groups and experienced as a coach is when people try to make helpful suggestions and all of these people like attack them, or the original poster will say, well, that's not going to work. And I tried that and it didn't work. I've seen this as well, where how long did you try it for? Well, I did it once and it didn't make a difference. And the analogy that I use for that is, would you expect to get a banging body if you only worked out and dieted for one day? No, it's a same type of thing. It's not something that's just going to happen. It's not just going to shift things right away. It's something you do over time. It's the little things you do over time that make the difference and make the shifts. This is your entire nervous system. Like, it's not like one walk or one, round of, I don't know, whatever it is you're doing, hypnotherapy or HBOT or whatever you're trying. Acupuncture is going to make a huge difference, or grounding, or being out in the sun, or all. It's just, you have to do things, whatever you're able to do. I think the best approach is to nurture the nervous system, stretch it when you can, and then come back when you need to rest, and just slowly build that up. It's a rebuilding. When you go through this experience, you're rebuilding your life basically from the bottom, in a lot of cases. And so you have to think about it in big picture rather than this one thing is going to make no difference. Because again, if you get into that mentality of, well, nothing is going to help, then nothing is going to help. And it's small things over time. And again, I'm never trying to blame people. I'm just saying that just think about it from that perspective. I don't know if that's helpful, but I just wanted to talk about the very severe symptoms and what I've noticed. So I hope you guys are doing okay, and take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time. Bye.